and welcome back once again. We are going to watch the first 10 minutes of Dungeons and Dragons. And I have to say, this is my kids' pick. They wanted to watch this, and I saw the advertisements for it, and I kind of thought, okay, yeah, like they're a little young for it, but let's see how it goes. But I have to say, I watched most of it with them, which isn't usual for me. So let's watch the first 10 minutes. I'm going to point out when they do a good job of screenwriting, because this is based on existing IP. We have the Dungeons and Dragons. It's Chris Pine and Michelle Rodriguez, who are just great actors, but we want to parse that all out, and we want to say, but is there good screenwriting in the first 10 minutes? Let's press play. So I like this beginning. Really takes you into the tone. Kind of reminds me of the beginning of Gladiator, which you should watch if you haven't seen Gladiator. Maybe not with your kids. This isn't really screenwriting, but just a comment on kind of the scenery here. It just looks authentic in a way. I think sometimes you have this huge world and they fill it out with CGI, but an alternative is to just shoot something really close like this, so you can spend all your money on the actual set as opposed to the CGI. That's just my personal opinion. Nothing to do with screenwriting. Back to the movie. It's a great intriguing moment. Who is this person? Already we have like a creature, so that's good. We're setting the tone. That's cool. Things like you haven't seen before. Have you ever seen that? I've never seen that. It's like prison block. Very cool visuals. And this can be described in the screenplay. Creatures again. Okay, the two main characters already introduced.
Another soulmate.
Like 1.5 minutes in.
They seem lovely.
2 minutes in.
Let's show you around. Get you situated here. This is the bucket where our pee freezes. And, yeah, that's it.
What's your name, lass?
That's Holga. I'm Edgin, and you are?
I've been in low cells. Never shared one with a female. Think I'm gonna like it.
Word of advice. Holga doesn't love to be disturbed while she's eating her potatoes. Kind of the highlight of her day.
Shut up, you.
Sure thing. Have at it.
Don't be like that. We could be very happy.
Perfect.
Fortune found.
So I'm hooked already because there wasn't a lot of explanation. We just got right to it. We see where the characters are at. So she's kind of the brawn. He's kind of got the quips. So if you compare this opening to Red Notice, and my complaint about Red Notice was everybody was so quippy. Everybody had a quip. So imagine if Michelle Rodriguez started saying a quip. So you got, and you imagine the creature has a quip and everybody's just quipping. It's like, okay, instead, he's this like rough creature, right? But trying to mark his territory. Chris Pine is the comic relief. Michelle Rodriguez is the muscle. Everybody has their own point of view. We know who these characters are, with all showing no tell. I trust the screenwriter.
The Absolution Council's tomorrow.
Don't get your hopes up, Ed.
What are you talking about? Jonathan is on the council this time. He's an Aarakocra. If anyone's gonna freeze, it's him.
So again, short, tight scenes. That was an organic conversation with a conflict. He says, stop talking. Okay, stop talking, but he keeps talking. And he says, listen, we're gonna get out of this choppy nice situation in the council. And she says, don't get your hopes up. Again, revealing character. He's a hopeful character. It's all gonna work out. She's a little bit pessimistic, and we're into the next scene. So even if that scene went on for another 12 pages of the original screenwriter saying, this is all, I need to explain all of this world, at some point they cut it down and said, nope, let's just get to the little nugget. Don't be afraid of really short scenes.
By authority of the Lord's Alliance,
I love movies.
This Absolution Council will now come to order in the case of Edgin,
The actor
Davis,
from
and
Rome,
Holger Kilgore.
which is a series not for
This
children.
is the second year
believe.
of incarceration for the crimes of grand larceny and skullduggery.
I noticed that Chancellor Jonathan is not present. Should we perhaps wait?
Chancellor Jonathan was delayed by the storm. You may begin.
I see. It's just that we were really counting on him to attend.
Begin or waive your statement.
Very well. Years ago, I became a member of the Harper's faction, a network of...
Okay, so we're going back in time, flashback, and he kind of just said, let me give you the backstory, okay? And it's a little bit like Once Upon a Time. I think it works for this genre because it is a little bit geared towards kids. They do want to hear like kind of where did we get here, and it was that Once Upon a Time. So again, we lean in. Great so far.
Of spies who swear an oath to fight tyranny.
I'm sorry. Why is he saying this right now? He's telling the people who asked him, give us the story. So he says, okay, well, let me start at this point in the story. Okay, he's not starting at birth, thank God. But this, totally organic. He's not just talking to no one in a voice.
And to ask nothing in return. My wife, Zia, supported my decision, even though she knew the risks. By day, I'd eavesdrop on mercenaries, stop bandits in their tracks. But my wife would always say, you don't have to give us everything, you only have to give us you. So what's the latest on Jonathan? Is he close by? Because I can wait.
Did you not hear what we said?
Right.
Okay, obviously we already have some comedy there. I just love the delivery of these lines, but just the way it's written, right? That he's going to ask that in the scene, right? Do we know what's happening with Jonathan? It's kind of like breaking the fourth wall in a way within a story, and I love this. This is great.
It's just that based on what I know about Jonathan, I think he'd be especially receptive to my story, and I'd hate to have to wait a whole other year to come back in a year and a half.
Proceed.
Absolutely. Here we go. When you're a Harper, you're bound to make enemies. And sometimes those enemies come looking for revenge.
Okay, so this is great. If Chris Pine's character would have just stayed this quippy, one-note character, we wouldn't have cared. Here's the moment I care. I care because we just saw them have this happy little life. It was simple. He wasn't, making a ton of money off this, eating tomato soup, but he was in love with his wife, cared about his daughter. Now his wife is dying. With her dying breath, she points out the child, and he's overjoyed that at least this child is still alive. This is the anchor to him. This is the wound. This is the character. Reveal your character in this way, and I will trust you to watch your movie. Trust you to read your script. I care.
No cleric can repair the damage from a red wizard's blade. There was no way to revive her.
Okay, there's a little breadcrumb in here. I'm not going to reveal any spoilers, but there is a breadcrumb, and I don't know it yet, but at the end of the movie, I will, and that will overall make me feel so much better. But little clues in what he's talking about, I'm kind of already putting them in my little parcel of is this a breadcrumb? Should I know this for later? So only essential information being conveyed here.
Hard to relive this without Jonathan here.
Again with this?
But he missed the most important part of my backstory. How can he judge me without knowing my motivation?
We are entirely capable of deciding your case without Jonathan.
Get on with it.
Fine. Where was I? By night, I come home to my loving wife and daughter, Kira.
You went back too far. Stop stalling.
Right. Sorry. Broad strokes. The next few months were among my most shameful. Olga was a fellow resident of Rock Bottom. Many years before, she'd been cast out of her tribe for falling in love with an outsider.
So many of these scenes are without dialogue. He's giving the voiceover, but it's not doing double duty, which is great. If you're going to use voiceover or this storytelling technique, don't also have the character say things, like repeat the same thing. So if he says, it was built, we were like brother and sister, and then in the scene she's like, you're more like my brother. Well, you're like my sister. Bad screenwriting. This is excellent screenwriting. I'm hooked. Let's keep going.
And we tried something new. You may be wondering how we could carry on this criminal lifestyle with a young girl at home. Well, we didn't leave her at home. Yes, we were thieves, but I tried to hold us to a certain standard. We never harmed anyone, and we only robbed from those who would feel it the least. But then Forge told me that among the relics in Korn's Keep there was a tablet of reawakening, capable of bringing back a single deceased person, even when killed by a red wizard's blade.
Chin up, bud. We'll be right back.
That is the first 10 minutes of Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, and I'm 100% hooked, and I have 100% confidence in the screenwriter. I saw excellent voiceover work where we were showing something in addition to what he was telling. He was giving kind of broad stroke location, time period, lots of conflict going on. We see them stealing and being chased, and should he go away, and the daughter saying don't leave. All these tiny scenes built on conflict. And as an adult watching this, I want to keep watching because it's great screenwriting. So this is a quick one for today. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope you take these lessons to heart. If you are going to open your movie and you feel like you need to build out the world with some backstory, this is an example of the way you can do it. He has a really long monologue, but notice he's not talking to no one. It's not just some voiceover just saying, hey, there were the elves and the ogres, and they used to have this war. Figure out a main character that we can already start bonding with within this story. Have him be telling the story to somebody that it's really important who hears this story. As you see, he's trying to get out of this horrible prison, and it matters. And if you have comedic elements that you want to include or any kind of genre elements, make sure that you're finding the time to do that as well. So I think this was a great one, and I definitely think you should watch Dungeons & Dragons. Who would have thought, though? I don't really like fantasy, and I don't like kids' movies. Double thumbs up on this one. All right, we'll see you next time. Thanks, as always, for watching with me.